So in a victory for the Fourth Amendment, for privacy, the Supreme Court has imposed limits on the ability of cops to obtain cell phone data that pinpointed your location. Now, in a 5-4 ruling, the court said that the police generally needed a court-approved warrant in order to get access to that location data. So what that does is that it puts a higher legal hurdle on the ability for police to go and access that data. Because right now, or before this ruling, of course, they can go and just check your location and then go and find you. Well, obviously, that's incredibly helpful towards law enforcement, but at the same time, that is, I believe, a breach of due process. Because, again, you've got to get a warrant in order to access their personal data. Now, the court said that obtaining that data without a warrant from wireless carriers, as police had routinely done, amounted to an unreasonable search and seizure under the Fourth Amendment. And that is correct. So, look, I mean, things get a little, I guess, complicated due to technology. So we're carrying around smartphones, and we have, all this technology and all the stuff that tracks us everywhere we go. So, and that technology can be used to basically eliminate our privacy. So this is an important ruling because it says, well, hold on a minute. Just because that information is out there doesn't mean that you can't go through due process in order to get that information, especially if they're involved in some sort of, or suspected to be involved in some sort of criminal activity. Now, that's, of course, what this case started out as. But first, let me give you the ruling here. This was written by conservative Chief Justice John Roberts. Now, he flipped over from the conservative side and joined the 4 liberals in the court. Now, they decided to rule in favor of Timothy Carpenter. Now, Carpenter was convicted in several armed robberies at a Radio Shack and a T-Mobile store in Ohio and Michigan with the help of past cell phone location data that linked him to the crime scenes. Roberts was joined by the court's 4 liberal justices, while the other 4 conservatives dissented. Now, Roberts wrote, "We decline to grant the state unrestricted access to a wireless carrier's database of physical location information." He also addressed that the ruling still allows police to avoid obtaining warrants for other types of business records, and said the ruling did not address other emerging digital privacy fights, including whether police need warrants to access real-time location information, which I think would be incredibly important to privacy rights. Again, I believe there has to be some sort of line. Yes, allow police to do their jobs in order to actually catch criminals, but also allow for people to not just be tracked and not have police be able to go in and randomly take people's, location data and all that stuff without some sort of warrant. So I think that it's really, really important that the ACLU launched this lawsuit, despite the fact that Tim Carpenter, yeah, he's a thief. He's kind of a douchey person, it sounds like. Nonetheless, we believe that he has due process. Now, let's see, let me go to one more thing here. In the ruling, Roberts said that the government's argument failed to contend with the seismic shifts in digital technology that made possible the tracking of not only Carpenter's location, but also everyone else's. And so I think that's one of the more important parts of that, because we do have this new technology. Things are becoming far more sophisticated, and so more people's private information and just information on where they are or where they visited is becoming visible to, the government and law enforcement. And that is problematic for somebody who does appreciate privacy. And these are huge privacy concerns that a lot of people have had. So we already live in some sort of, surveillance state. And so any ruling that kind of puts a limit on that, I think is really, really important. Even Edward Snowden said, yes, this is a great ruling. This does help with privacy. And I think it's a great victory for the Fourth Amendment and a great victory for privacy. And so I actually applaud Justice Roberts for actually agreeing and saying that, yes, we do need to put a check on the the government's ability to go through and just take whatever data they want without any sort of probable cause. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.